Hello, hello, hello. All right, so what we have here is the beginning of the first attempt at the podcast called Listen Kid. Why is it named Listen Kid? It's named Listen Kid because countless times I've spoken with my father, and he has these ideas in his head about why the Cowboys are so great or why LeBron is such a horrible player. Of course, he doesn't have any stats to back this up, it's just his gut. And I tell him, hey, listen, kid. And then I back it all up. Most of the time, he doesn't listen, but it's all in good spirit and good faith. So, what we're doing here is just kind of checking out the sound quality, some of the topics, how it would go. The idea would be to get some guests rolling around here. Maybe make this like a weekly thing, maybe a daily thing. Daily seems a little bit excessive. Maybe a twice a month thing would be kind of nice as well, just to get things running. We'll see how it goes. But what we have today is two listener, that's what I'm going to call you, Stefan. Two listener submitted topics by Stefan. We will not say his last name because it's been a while since I said it, and two, he probably appreciates it at the moment. The first topic is Rob Gronkowski, his current injury, and is he the best tight end in football at the moment? So let's get right to it. So Rob Gronkowski, to no one's surprise, has gotten injured again. He will, what it looks like, is going to be getting a season-ending surgery. So the playoff hopes there, well, not the playoff hopes, of course, because they're in the playoffs, but their chances of going deep in the playoffs and winning a Super Bowl have been diminished. Tom Brady does look hobbled, so that's not good. But regardless of that, he does have phenomenal numbers. The player that I've looked at for a while in that tight end spot has been the player that I've looked at who I think is super under the radar, but just puts up great, fantastic stats, is Delaney Walker with the Titans. Now, Delaney Walker came onto the scene in 2006, but he got picked up by the San Francisco 49ers, so you can scratch all those seasons. I mean, he was playing under Alex Smith. You can just forget about all that. And then I guess in a certain sense, you could say you could forget about all the seasons he had too, as well with the Titans because of the lack of quarterback, good coaching, what have you. But what I have here is some very interesting numbers and comparisons on both of them that I think you will find very interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Gronkowski's numbers. In 2014, he had 63 receptions on 108 targets that totaled in 890 yards with 4 touchdowns. Okay. I'm sorry, fuck me. That was actually Delaney's numbers. Those are Delaney Walker's numbers. That's in 2014. Okay. So his second year, he had 94 receptions with 133 targets, and that equated to 1,088 yards with 6 touchdowns. Very, very good season for him. And so far this year, he's got 49 receptions on 72 targets, 657 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Way to go, Delaney. Now, let's go ahead and compare those numbers to that of Rob Gronkowski's. In 2014, he had 82 receptions on 130 targets, which gave him 1,124 yards with 12 touchdowns. Very good, monster year. Then he had in 2015 72 receptions on 120 targets with 1,176 yards, receiving 11 touchdowns. Again, another monster year. And so far this year, 2016, he's got 25 receptions, 38 targets, 540 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, I know you're saying, Gronk has been hurt this year and this and that. I get all that, but hey, your best ability is by far your availability. And in terms of yards, I mean, those numbers are kind of close. Touchdowns, yeah, you can definitely give that edge to Rob Gronkowski there, but he's not that far off. Guys, you have to remember, who does Gronk play with? He plays with arguably the best quarterback that the NFL has ever seen. It's just him or John Montana, right? At this point, I know for a while there were some other quarterbacks that they talked about, Dan Marino just on skill alone. They're trying to put, Aaron Rodgers up there, which to me has just always been a silly thought. Peyton Manning, for good reasons, a lot of numbers and stuff, but he just by the eye test, I'm sorry, he does not have what Tom Brady has. But I'm digressing there a little bit. Gronkowski is a product of Tom Brady. I think it's safe to say that. And good numbers, I'm not taking anything away. But then we look at Delaney's numbers just very, very quickly. 63 targets, 94, 49 so far, 890 yards, 1,088, 657, and then 4 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, and 6 touchdowns. Who have been Delaney Walker's quarterbacks? Let me try this list. Although Mariota's looking very good now, he's still kind of getting up there, okay? Zach Mettenberger, Jake Locker, Charlie Wisenhunt. Really? I mean, Delaney has been putting up these numbers in spite of that quarterback play, in spite of having a really terrible defense. I mean, I don't even know what's to talk about here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and relate this on a fantasy football sense. There are players, I've seen it time and time again, on the first pick of the draft, there you go, Rob Gronkowski, talking all this mess, and I always see the same result, of course. Maybe they make the playoffs, maybe they don't, but they are sure do not win the championship. I have drafted Delaney Walker 2 of the last 3 years this year. One of my opposing teams snagged them up because they've been paying attention to what I've been preaching so far along. But the past 2 years, I did win the championship. And reason being is you're going to get very, very good tight end numbers, arguably, Rob Gronkowski numbers, and you can go and snag him up really, or at least you could a few years back, in the 7th or 8th round, which was just remarkable. Sometimes you could even just pick him up off the waivers. Everybody would just, Delaney Walker, just overlook, and it's the silliest thing you can do. The best thing you could do is get him in that 6th round, 7th round, and you're securing yourself a very good player at a great spot in the draft that's going to ensure that position, which is very scarce, is taken care of. And then you can still get, your solid, your running backs, your wide receivers, and those kinds of players that you're going to need for your hopes in fantasy. So I think with those numbers, we completely back this up that Delaney Walker is a better tight end than Rob Gronkowski. Now I'm going to quickly touch on this one. Again, thank you to Stefan on this idea. Jameis versus Mariota, okay? We have a season and a half's worth of work. Very quickly here, I think, on some important numbers. QBR for Jameis, 60.9 first season, ranking 18th overall. 2016, he's got a QBR of 6.7, ranking number 13th. Look at Mariota, he had a 51.6, ranking 26th overall, which is just abysmal. And then right now, he's got a very impressive 69, ranking 10th overall. So that's similar stats, but I'd take Jameis there. Now, something very, very interesting here is that Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota are both running quarterbacks. So that's something to keep note of when we're tracking this. So because of that, we're going to put at Jameis's 323 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 fumbles rushing. Marcus Mariota, he edges that out on the rushing, 562 with 4 touchdowns and 8 fumbles. Passing, all just very quickly, 6,900 yards because we're running out of time here. 6,900 yards for Jameis, 5,800 yards, a difference of 1,000 for Marcus. Something very, very important, they both have the same number of touchdowns, 44 throwing, but 26 interceptions for Jameis to 18 for Marcus Mariota. A lot more of a gunslinger. Who would you take here? I would just base this on the eye test. I'm sorry, just Jameis looks so smooth. And we'll touch more about this a little bit later. I just wanted to kind of fill it in. So tell me what you think, thoughts, corrections. I mean, we can upgrade on microphone. I'm definitely going to record this in a room where it's silent to where you get better quality because I'm in my car and I just wanted to get this so I can hear it on my way to the house. Anyway, that was the first try for Listen Kid Sport Talk with Eli. Hopefully, this is something that we can take off and we can make better and look forward to in the future.